Hi, my name is Samantha Lake, and this is my first year in the MSW program. I think it's my fourth class, so I'm just getting kind of started going on this. What does culture mean to me? I think of culture as a person's way of life, a belief or value system that makes a person who they are. You can develop these beliefs or values in really any way, but some main ways somebody might develop their culture and beliefs is through language, religion, cuisine, social habits, music, or art. I identify my culture as this has always been a tricky question for me because I feel like I don't have a lot of different systems that my culture roots from. I'm a Christian, so for the most part, that drives a lot of my belief. And the other place I think I draw a lot of my culture from is rural living. In undergrad, we talked a lot about culture, and the group that I hung out with was from the Chicago area, mostly from larger cities. Something that always set us apart was the urban versus rural culture, if that's if that makes sense. Two examples I can think of that come to mind from that time is like I would always call supper. I would call dinner supper, and that wasn't even a word like to them. And then we have a local rodeo that comes to town, and it's really important. Like our school shut down for it and everything, and they just kind of thought that was a little bit crazy that we would not go to school because of a rodeo. So like it's completely different because out here like livestock is really important to people's livelihood, and that's something that needed to be celebrated. So it was just a big difference in our culture. Within my culture, I have a strong value for family, and I think that being a strong independent woman is important. During my development, culture, ethnicity, or oppression impacted my life because before high school, I felt like I had no exposure to different cultures. Oh, excuse me, before college, I felt like I didn't have exposure to any different cultures. I graduated with about 70 kids. We were all white, Christian, mostly middle class, and we all lived in the same rural area and were brought up with the same belief systems and values. So college was a little bit of a culture shock for me, seeing all the different places people could come and the different levels of education, and it was just completely different for me. In order to be a social worker, I need to know more about culture and ethnicity in the following way. I think I could learn how to honor someone's culture better. I think I need to learn how to go slower and put my best self forth to understand each individual better. Sometimes I think I know what's best for somebody, like when we're working towards a goal. But when I step back and look at their family history or explore what makes them them, I learned that maybe my way of achieving that goal isn't the best way for them to achieve that goal. Or maybe like I think education's really important, but really their family hasn't gone past high school, and just getting that high school degree was really important for them. So just making sure that I honor who that person is and recognizing like what made them them. Other thoughts that I have regarding race, culture, and ethnicity that I think people need to know about. I think other people need to know that culture doesn't just mean that you're this race or that you belong to this tribe. I think sometimes people think they don't have a culture because they aren't a part of a tribe, or they don't know where they're thinking too broad. So I think people need to realize that it's really just simply what makes up your beliefs and why you feel the way you feel. So I have a friend who looks Hispanic, and it's always just assumed that she celebrates that as her culture, though she doesn't and she never has. People always approach her and speak in Spanish, and it really bothers her. So the other thing I guess I think is really important is that people recognize that it goes a lot farther than just your race. A race can be a part of your culture, but it doesn't start and end there. So we need to take the time to get to know a person before making guesses about their culture. How might these beliefs impact me as a worker with my clients? I currently work in more of an urban area with teenagers. So I guess sometimes I don't, like if they use slang or they talk about something, sometimes I don't know what they're talking about. And I don't know if it's my age or because I'm from the country and they're from more of a city area. But just sometimes I have to slow down and ask them like what they're talking about or what they meant by that. So I guess that's a pretty big way it impacts my work. How do I approach the topic of culture with clients that I work with? I usually am pretty honest. I think that's the best way to build rapport. Sometimes it involves talking about what is important to me or in my life, and sometimes it involves me just asking questions about their beliefs and why they did something the way they did or why they think something they think. I just believe it's better for me to ask them about why they made a decision or why they think something instead of just making an assumption. Sometimes that can put you down the wrong path. So I think just being honest and talking about like our differences or why we have certain opinions is important. So, all right. Thanks.